I never imagined that inviting my nephew over for the weekend would turn into something I would never forget for the rest of my life. My name is Laura Bennett, and I live in a quiet suburb just outside of Portland, Oregon. I've always been close to my sister's son, Ethan. He's 15, polite, and usually a little shy, so when my sister asked if he could spend a few nights with me while she and her husband took a short trip, I said yes without hesitation. I thought it would be a chance for him to relax, play video games, maybe go for some walks, and just enjoy himself away from the bustle of his parents' home. But I couldn't have been more wrong. It was a Friday evening when Ethan arrived. He stepped out of my sister's car with his backpack slung over one shoulder, his hood pulled over his head despite the warm air. My sister gave me a quick hug, reminded Ethan to be good, and then drove away. Ethan smiled at me, a little half-smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. I thought he was just tired from the week. Inside, I had pizza waiting for us, and after dinner, we settled into the living room to watch a movie. Ethan didn't talk much, but I didn't think too much of it. Teenagers can be quiet, and I didn't want to push him. By 10 o'clock, he said he was tired and went upstairs to the guest room. That's when the first strange thing happened. Around midnight, I woke up to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. At first, I thought it was Ethan going to the bathroom, but when I checked, the bathroom light wasn't on. The footsteps didn't stop. They moved slowly up and down the hall, like someone pacing. I got out of bed and peeked out my door, but no one was there. The hallway was empty. I walked to Ethan's room, quietly opened the door, and found him fast asleep. His chest rose and fell steadily, his face relaxed in deep sleep. I felt a shiver crawl down my back. I told myself it must have been the old house creaking, but I knew the sound of footsteps. The next day, things got stranger. Ethan was quieter than ever. At breakfast, he barely ate. His eyes darted around the kitchen like he was expecting something to leap out at him. Asked him if everything was okay, and he finally said something that made my stomach drop. "Aunt Laura," he whispered. "I don't think I came here alone." I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking, but his face was pale and serious. He pushed his cereal bowl away and stared at the table. I asked him what he meant, and he shook his head, refusing to explain further. That evening, I noticed something unusual in the guest room. When I went to check if he had enough blankets, I saw claw-like scratches on the wooden window frame. They weren't there the day before. My heart pounded as I ran my fingers over the grooves. They were deep, uneven, and looked fresh. I asked Ethan about them, but he avoided my eyes and muttered, "I told you it came with me." The air in the house grew heavier as night fell. We tried to watch another movie, but I couldn't focus. Every creak of the house made me jump. Around 11, the lights flickered and went out. I grabbed a flashlight, and Ethan's face in the dim beam was pale, his eyes wide with fear. "Don't go near the windows," he whispered. My throat went dry. Asked him why, and he finally told me everything. For weeks, Ethan had been seeing a shadowy figure outside his bedroom window at his parents' house. At first, he thought it was just his imagination, but then he started waking up with scratches on his arms and the sound of someone whispering his name. His parents thought it was just nightmares, but Ethan swore it was real. And when he packed his things to come to my house, he said he saw the figure standing in the corner of his room, watching him. "I think it followed me here," he said, his voice trembling. I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that it was all in his head, but deep down, I wasn't so sure anymore. That night, I barely slept. Every sound put me on edge. Around 3 in the morning, I heard Ethan screaming. I ran to his room and found him thrashing in bed, his eyes wide open but unseeing. He was choking out words I couldn't understand, his voice low and guttural, not his own. I shook him until he finally snapped out of it, gasping for breath. On the window pane behind him, fog had formed words, for chilling words that made my blood run cold.